Resolving disputes amicably. Hello everybody, Tom here from Code. I hope you're all well today. Today I'm going to discuss the idea of disputes and particularly neighbour disputes. Now, I don't mind telling you that I have been living in this house now for nearly a decade, probably nearly 8 years, okay? I live on a very small enclosed estate. It's like almost like a little community. It's an estate with a gated property, so there's car parking spaces, but I'll be honest, there's not enough car parking spaces. And with that poses a problem. It poses a problem in that you're only really allowed one car per property, and some people have more than one car. And then obviously people who come to visit should not really be parking on the estate. They should really be parking outside of the estate. But anyway, in my time here, I've had a lot to put up with in terms of my neighbours and disputes, okay? This is not very pleasant, and I have to be straight with you all. So my neighbour to the side of me that's attached, because I'm an end terrace, the guy that lived there for the majority of my time was a local drug dealer, and he would have parties till the early hours of the morning, disturbing my sleep. He's had his doors kicked in a couple of times, and he was beaten up a couple of times as well. And with that came a sort of person that, I'm not trying to sound like a snob here, that I didn't really want anywhere near my house or anywhere near my area, but unfortunately that's just the nature of the beast. And then going back to lockdown a couple of years back, I was verbally threatened by one of them, told that they were going to put my windows through because they thought I'd called the police on them when I hadn't done anything. So, very unpleasant circumstances. I'm pleased to say that person has now gone. He's left my area, he's left my estate. And my next door neighbour now is the complete opposite. He's a really great guy, he's quiet, unassuming, so he keeps himself to himself, and he's actually a decent human being, no issues. However, I've come with a new sort of dispute, shall we say. So, as I've said, I live the end of an estate, and at the end of that estate is a small bit of what I've got to call block paving, a small area. There's a garage which a business runs out of, not all the time, but has been as a unit there. And I have a neighbour that's in a house behind me who I actually get on very well with, but we've recently not been, we've been in dispute about something, and I've done my utmost to try and resolve it amicably. And the idea of today's video is to try and find a common ground with somebody before having to escalate it further. So basically, in a nutshell, this man owns a electronic vehicle. It's a 4x4, it's a big vehicle, it's a very nice vehicle, and he's a bit precious about his car. Understand, it's his vehicle, it's probably very expensive to buy and to run. I get that. Outside of my house is a front garden, a very small garden, and he has been pulling his car in between my house and that garage area I've been talking about to charge it, as it's electronic vehicle, but was very carelessly a couple of times reversed over my front lawn, and which has then wrecked the grass. I mean, the grass was already not in a good position anyway. So he kept doing this, and it's got to the point where I've had to have a word with him. Now, I'm trying to say this now, even if you are not happy with somebody that's a neighbour, be brave enough and reasonable enough to try and talk about the dispute that you're having, because most people are reasonable and most people listen and try and amicably meet you some part of the way. So I had a little discussion with him, explained my issue with what he was doing, and he said he'd be more careful, and for the most part he has been, up until recently it started happening again. Now, rather than this get escalating in any other way, I've taken action to make it very abundantly clear that I'm not tolerating anybody reversing over my front lawn. So the other day I went out and I bought a lot of rockery stone. I spent well over £100 on doing up the part of my garden, the front garden, which is basically been destroyed from people reversing over the grass. And it's obvious now to him, without me saying anything, that absolutely he is not to even attempt that anymore. And if he does try and attempt it, his wheels are going to go over rockery stone and he's going to struggle to reverse. So just a little case study there of a situation where you're in dispute with somebody. Absolutely always try and resolve it amicably and reasonably by discussing it with the person or the people involved. If they don't listen, then obviously you can take further action. Okay, I haven't reported him to the police or anything like that. I haven't verbalised again by getting threatening or angry towards him, but I have taken action, but I thought was decent action to make the situation better for myself, in that he or no one else now will be able to do that easily, you know, and that's the step I feel I've had to take. So yes, it's just a video about how we as people are well within our rights to try and resolve any disputes you have with anybody in any walk of life, even at work as well. Having that conversation with somebody, even if you're not happy with them or not happy with something they're doing, it opens up the doors to most people being reasonable enough to understand it from your point of view and then maybe change. Okay, on this occasion he slipped back in his old ways. I've now taken action, but not in a way that's like verbally abusive or in anything like that, because I'm not like that. I've done something practical, put it in place because I felt the need to, and now I'm probably in a position where I've protected the front of my property by doing it. Guys, it's food for thought for us all really when we're in a position of dispute with someone, but I just thought I'd make it clear on this video today. That's my case study of how I've had to recently. This is my third and final video of the week. I want to say thank you all ever so much for listening. I really appreciate your time and energy spent here on my channel. Thank you kindly. Third and final video, as I said, put down in the comment section below. Have you ever been in dispute with a neighbour or somebody at work? And what steps did you take to try and resolve amicably? Or was it just a situation where unfortunately the other person was not going to hear you out and you had to escalate it? It's sad when that happens, but unfortunately sometimes the other person will never see it from your point of view and will not bend in any way, shape or form. When you come into that situation, you have to do what you have to do, okay? I'm not one for raging war on somebody or being petty or, you know, tit for tat and all that. Sometimes though, you've got to make a stand and stand your ground and say, look, I don't accept what you're doing under any circumstances. This is my property, it's my issue, and I've tried to do the reasonable thing. As long as you try to do that, there shouldn't be really any issue. Remember to hit that subscribe button down below, leave me a thumbs up and a like, and let's hear that bell sign go ding dong so you know when my next content's out. Guys, that's it for this week. I'll be back next week with another 3 videos. But I want to say thank you all ever so much for listening as always. I really appreciate your time and energy spent here on my channel. Back next week with another 3 videos. Take care of yourselves and bye for now.